So do we want to talk about community?
Yes. Season 4 wasn't really that great. I think it's, we could just attribute to blame the showrunner. I mean, however, season 2 was pretty decent. The Yahoo seasons were pretty good. I think they went a little too far with it, but yeah, they tried their best with what they had, honestly. But all in all, it had some good shots. It got some bad shots. Pigment episodes were like very overrated. But we're actually talking about building communities and not the TV show. Yeah, I'm done. 6 seasons in a movie.
Exactly. We wanted to talk about cultivating Twitch communities. When you want to create, you're starting a Twitch channel and you're thinking about, what kind of community do I want? You can't control what your community will become, but from day one, you should know what kind of community you want to cultivate. When Oko started streaming, we talked about he wanted a PG, family-friendly community.
Language, innuendo, the basically putting people down instead of lifting up. That kind of thing.
We want our personal families to feel welcome in our community. We want them to support us and watch, and they do. That doesn't mean we require everybody to be just like us, but we wanted it to be clear we want to cultivate a community that everybody can feel comfortable in. We do have the stipulation in your rules that the games you play may not always be PG, but chat should be.
Yes.
I've been seeing this on on Twitter, people talking about their communities, and a lot of times, people are like, I have no idea what my community would be. My community is amazing. They're so giving. They're welcoming. We gave this much money to charity. Or you've seen where my community became kind of toxic. How did that happen? I would assume most streamers don't want to cultivate a toxic community. So you can say from day one, I don't want to be toxic. We don't want to insult games and developers and just diss people who are, bad at gaming, because not everybody's great.
I am a prime example of that.
We don't want that. That's toxic. You can say that from day one. But you don't know what your community is going to look like. You don't know, is my community going to be charity oriented? Are we going to be giving to people constantly, always raising money for something? Is my community going to be uplifting?
Basically meme communities?
Yeah, I mean, like people who, you can love a meme, but you don't necessarily know your community is going to become based on memes. Like you don't know that it's going to be like what they're sharing in Discord all the time. You don't know that from day one. But you can know, I want a community that's going to respect each other and lift each other up and only talk good. And if somebody negative and toxic comes into chat, they'll be, hey, no, take that out of here, get out. And typically you're going to be like, I want a friendly community. Most of us, I think, are probably that way.
Most of us start with this, I want to make a positive, uplifting community where everybody feels comfortable here. You see that on so many channels.
And you make that clear from day one.
Yeah.
When you're wanting to build a community, you need to set these guidelines.
You have the option of who you want to let into your community and who you don't want to let in. You have control.
And that's where you trust mods.
Yeah.
So when you have mods that understand and respect your community guidelines, they will help cultivate the community you want. So you bring them in and say, hey, I need help, regulating chat when things come up that violate our community guidelines. Can you please handle that? I mean, I'm his wife, so it's just kind of ingrained and trusted.
Mm-hmm.
But Oko knows I will respect the community guidelines. If somebody violates it, bye, you're gone.
I've thought about the ideas like not bringing in some non-PG games. I still wouldn't use the language, but basically more relaxed, mature, like Oko After Dark.
Mm-hmm. It's one thing if you want to do an After Dark stream and be very clear in your channel, like in your title and on screen, something about, make it clear this is not the normal stream. There's something different about this, and this is why you're going to see a different type of game than I would normally play. Because when you have a brand new person come in on one of those different streams, they need to know this is not your normal stream, so they understand what your community is. I had someone on last night that is a family-friendly streamer, does not cuss on stream, but we're sitting there. Oko's sitting here in the chair behind me. I'm sitting here working on something, but I have this stream up, and all of a sudden I hear the streamer say something, and Oko's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, did he just say what I think he did? Yeah. Isn't he family friendly?
Yeah.
It was because specifically the type of game he was playing, it made sense in that context. But if you have somebody new come in, they have no idea that's not normal for you. My larger concern is I'm cultivating a PG channel where I don't use foul language. But if I say, oh, it's okay for this type of stream, what's to stop me from developing it using it other times? Because, oh, it's okay this time. It's okay this time. It's okay. It starts to become habitual, and it changes the tone of your community. So if you allow it once in a while, it can affect your community long term. So if you're wanting to cultivate a certain type of community,
it starts with yourself.
It starts with you, and it needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
It's okay to deviate from this is my community. This, you don't have to be strict and rigid, because then it becomes almost like these are the rules. If you don't follow them, you're out. You want to give people a chance. You want to be relaxed about it. So when you want to deviate from a normal community style stream, just make it very clear. This is not my normal stream. Things are going to be different tonight. But I still expect the same behavior from chat. Especially if you're still a relatively new growing channel. You want to keep your keep your community guidelines very specific. Don't deviate from what you expect too early. We feel like the community understands what is expected, what the community is like, enough that if you wanted to occasionally do something a little bit different, the community will understand. But here's what makes that okay and great, in my opinion. The community is going to call out every time something in the game goes against our rules. With Mass Effect,
Deus Ex,
when they were cussing on stream,
I think a lot of time in Dishonored too.
But when they were cussing on the game, everybody in chat's like, I thought this was a PG channel. So when you know you've cultivated the kind of community you want, you know it's safe to bring in something that deviates, because they're still going to recognize, whoa, that goes against what we normally do. And your community can handle it like adults. You want to start from day one knowing what kind of community you want to cultivate. Like we knew from day one, PG, family friendly. We didn't know what that'll look like. We still don't know what it'll look like in the future. But if you don't want a toxic community, you have to understand there are certain things you just cannot allow. So that's what's important to know about when you're trying to cultivate a certain type of community. If the game you're playing is affecting you to the extent that it goes against your community guidelines, it's okay to back up and say, I need to not play this anymore.
Because you set the rules. You set the rules for the guidelines and yourself.
In talking about this with Oko, I used the example of gardening. Because you're cultivating a community. You cultivate a garden. So you want to grow tomatoes. You know when it's said and done, you want tomatoes. You want to have these yummy, delicious tomatoes. So you get a pack of seeds, Roma tomatoes. You know what a Roma tomato looks like. You know what it's supposed to taste like. You know they're good in salads. So you plant these Roma tomatoes. You can just throw them out in the backyard and see what grows, or you can get some good soil, till it, plant them, water them, keep the bugs away, take care of the plant. And that doesn't mean you know exactly what that tomato's gonna taste like in the end, because things don't always taste like what you expect them to. So you're going to cultivate that tomato and hope it becomes the thing you want.
Welcome
Cat
on
hair
it.
in my coffee.
That's how the best coffee flavor gets to ya.
Missy was trying to steal my
Because-
coffee.
I'm playing video games on Twitch.
We're watching Oko play video games on Twitch.
But
This is how Twitch
because
works.
you're not actually seeing the screen. That's a lot of ghosts. That's a lot of ghosts here. That's a lot of ghosts.